Hello,
Oh, hello.
I'm Sammy,
And I'm Steve.
listening to Rose Plate Special, the most dramatic, pineapple-iest, gaslightingest, um, we need to talkingest recap podcast of The Bachelor ever.
Ever.
That's true. That's all very true. Okay, so all right, we're in full Joey mania. We start out this episode, we're in Joey mania. And it's what's amazing to me is like how starved we were for someone who was just kind of nice and normal and not toxic. That
Hmm.
it's just like Joey is the best.
It's amazing. And
Yeah.
and here's the funny thing. You would have to go back several years, several seasons to find a bachelor that hits the highs that Joey has hit. He has raised the bar, which I
Yeah.
never would have guessed. And you can go back and you can look on the previous season, the Bachelorette season he was on, you can look before this season started. And I believe my exact words were, he's fine. He's a nice boy. I bet he's going to be boring. And you
He's
know
so
what?
good.
He's so good. And he
He's so
doesn't
good.
have to be the star because we also learned that even though Joey is this like bachelor masterclass in how to be just a good, normal dude, this is Maria's season. I'm sorry. Like the
Yeah.
pop she got from the crowd when she is introduced for the Women Tell All was deafening. I have never, ever heard a pop like this. Like, this is the sound. Go on YouTube and look up in 1984 when Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant in the Pontiac Silverdome in front of
Wow.
90,000 screaming fans. And you will hear crowd excitement that is still one or two steps lower than what we heard on the Women Tell All. Just masterful,
Wow.
masterful.
Well, so I'm looking through past bachelors and I feel like there's a few standouts there's only like a handful of good bachelors, I would argue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Alex, the first bachelor, good track record, good guy, didn't quite work out, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing bad to say about him. Like he was
Sure.
a good first choice. Obviously, Jesse Palmer was a bachelor. So
He
we
turned
know
out
that.
okay.
He turned out okay. He's got good sweaters. Bob Guinea, I would say, is a good one.
Oh, shout out Bob
Um,
Guinea. There's a
yeah,
person I haven't thought about in a long time.
mad love for. I always love Bob Guinea. Jason Mesnick, of course, that was a dramatic season, but obviously one of the best endings we've ever had to The Bachelor ever. So thank you for television gold, Jason
Mm-hmm.
Mesnick. Travis Stork is probably one of the most successful people who came out of The
Mm.
Bachelor.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
doctors. Um, who else? I'm trying to think. You know, love him or tolerate him, Ben Higgins.
Oh,
You
love
know,
me some Ben.
I don't think he's half bad. And Matt James is fine. He was fine. Like,
Yeah.
but most of the men I'm looking at on this, I'm like, oh, it was so rough. Like Ari, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like, yeah, Brad. In retrospect, I think Brad was not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But at the
Comparatively.
time, people were like, "Brad is the scum of the earth," so funny.
Yeah.
Um, and like Sean is well liked, I just like don't agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Soules, what a hot mess. Nick Vile speaks for itself. Ben Flajnik, oh my god,
Yeah. Yeah.
Peter Weber, Juan
Well, and
Pablo,
there's
the
some
worst of
people
them
too.
all.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Juan Pablo's the
The
worst,
worst
the
one.
absolute
No
worst.
one
That's
will ever be worse than him ever.
no, it's not even. It's not possible, and
No,
it's
he's
it's so
such
funny.
trash.
It's like, yeah, it's like most of these bachelors are like, they're okay or they're bad, but now it's like, because even like Nick Vile at this point, I don't, I don't like him. Like I've never enjoyed him on the show, but he's probably not the worst person in the world. Like
No.
most of these people are probably functional now that they're, a little bit older, they've grown up a little bit, or they were just not a good fit for being the bachelor. Um, there's only been a few that fall into the hot mess category. And then you've got like the extreme scraping the bottom of the barrel so much that the bottom of the barrel has actually formed a hole, and now you're digging into the center of the earth, and that's where Juan Pablo lives.
Yeah.
Not a lot of those, but that's why, again, even though the bar is low, that low bar, that is the norm. I don't think we have a
Yeah.
lot of big expectations for our bachelors. Like, at the very best, we're like, well, I hope they're bland and there's fun ladies on the show. And yeah, so more power to Joey for being universally loved too. I mean, I haven't seen
Yeah.
anybody say anything bad about him, which is incredible.
Yeah, he's very likable and yeah, just like I don't know, just like a good guy, and everybody stands up for him outside of the show too. And I haven't heard anything from anyone, and I haven't like looked a ton, but I also like I'm like he's not raising up a single like there's no red flags to be found. But yeah, as far as I know, just like no dirt at all, like just a good guy. And the fact that, the women on the show, I mean, first of all, we've had an amazing season of women. Like really great, top tier, which we usually have on The Bachelor, but I think this was like extra good, extra special good. Um but, the fact that these women who leave, even Sydney, who like she's so cringe. I really just can't with her. I still can't. Um, but when she was like, "Oh, he went out of his way to check on me and like that's so cool." I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, This the him you see is the him that exists in real life."
Mhm.
I believe it. I 100% believe it. So the Joey mania is like warranted. Yeah.
And just the little things, especially on a show where, performative actions to try and boost your image are the norm. Like,
Yeah.
little stuff where they didn't even show this on TV, but it's just like, what's her name? Lexi, I think it was,
Yeah.
with the endometriosis, and apparently Joey was just like, "What could I carry around with me in case,
Yeah.
like, your
Like,
pain
"What kinda
flares up?"
kit could I get
Oh,
you?"
my
Yeah.
chronic pain girlies, find yourself a man who will carry a kit for you? That is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I have a note for that. I was like, "Fellow spoonies, this is what you want, this is what we all want."
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there's something so comforting about that, and yeah, it's like, this is in that same vein. I asked Tuck, the "Would you love me if I was a worm?" question, and, you know that question, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I was like, "Would you love me if I was a worm?" Without hesitation. I mean, here's the thing, I don't need to ask him to peel an orange for me or any of that shit. I know he'll just go, "Yeah, well, yeah, here you go, here's an orange, okay, anything else?" But he was like, "Oh, I would make you a little habitat, and I would change out the scenery, and I would make you little versions of the books that you love so that you could read them, and I would read to you too." And, and I would just make sure it was really comfortable, and I would bring you all the snacks you like.
Mhm. I
And I
asked
was like,
Susan
"Yeah,
this question, and she responded with just too many questions. Like, she's like, "I need clarification on everything. Are you like the kind of worm that a fish eats when you're fishing, or are you like one of the dune sandworms? Like, what's your
what
situation?"
kind of worm are you?"
And I'm like,
My
I
answers
don't
will
know. I
hinge on
haven't
this.
thought that far ahead. Like, the hypothetical is just usually proposed as a simple worm, but I don't know what that means. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Joey would answer the question similar to Tuck is what I'm saying. I think he would
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, "I would give you an entire habitat, and I would look up everything that worms like, and I would make sure you had it."
Mm,
So like that's I 100% believe that.
yeah.
So they do like the watch party stuff and whatever,
Oh,
and then
jeez.
yeah, it's like that in the bloopers. I'm like, we don't love it as much as you think we do. Well, maybe other people do, but
No,
I don't
like,
think
I was
we
just, like,
do.
getting anxiety from looking at that house party because 'cause they're at, like, a
Yeah.
UCLA sorority or something, and it's just, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It's like the most women named, like, Ashlyn ever put in, like, one room. I could not. I would have hyperventilated. Like, they couldn't even move. It was like they're at a punk basement show.
Yeah, I'd
Incredible
rather
stuff.
be at a punk basement show, that's for sure. And,
Yep.
yeah, and then he uses a safe word, pineapple. Boring. Pick a better word. Anyway, so so then the women get introduced and okay, I like that they had props this year, some of them. I don't feel
Mhm.
like I've ever noticed props, but this could be amnesia, but I love that Lauren had a cake.
That was
She
great.
had a mini red velvet, you could tell,
Yep.
cake, and then Autumn brought sausage, amazing, and then, like, Sydney did that cheerleader thing, and I was like, "Oh, I just wanna, like, turn inside out." I mean, I don't think she deserves death threats, but, like, can you stop doing that? Like, it's
Yeah.
so annoying.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's
whatever.
the thing, and this is the problem with all these cyber bullies too. Like, we don't want these people to die. Far from it. Like, I just want them to like maybe not do some things, but you don't have to
Yeah.
tell them that on their Instagram comments.
Yeah, you can keep living and also give me stuff to cringe at. That's
Yeah,
totally fine with me. I have no issue with that.
yeah.
But oh my god. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, and well, and it really got into it because we'll talk about this a little bit later with Rachel. But just like some of the racism stuff that was popping up because I don't know, Bachelor has some weird elements to the fandom where they're really, really racist, and I don't. It's odd and bad, but yeah, like the fact that these people are just like, man, I'm gonna log in and just say this horrible shit is psychotic to me. And
Yeah.
then Rachel even said, she's like, yeah, like these people are they're doing this, but these aren't things that they would ever like criticize us about to our face because they know that they're inherently wrong. And that's 100% true. Although
Yeah.
I would say the cheerleading stuff, I as a friend coming from a place of love, I would say you can't
You
do
gotta
that. You
pack
got to
that up.
stop.
You gotta pack
Yeah.
it up. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like, here's the thing. Okay, and I was gonna get into this more later, but we're kind of on the topic now, so I'll bring it up now. I am so annoyed that we keep having this conversation. It's like every few seasons, we have like a heightened conversation about like the racism and the death threats and this really terrible side of the fandom that is just seems to be inherent to the fandom. And the thing that frustrates me is The Bachelor could do a lot of things to change that.
Mhm.
Instead of just like a scolding of like, "Don't do that. It's mean. You better stop it because that's wrong." It's like, okay, how about partnering with a nonprofit organization that, you know, does something that these boomers wouldn't like or these hateful incels wouldn't like or whatever, whatever the people are who are doing this shit. Why not I don't know, why not getting certain kind of like social media managers or, something like that for anyone who's on the cast for a certain period of time. Like, okay, if you come on the show from the time that it airs to, maybe 2 years later, we're going to handle and help you filter those comments so that you don't have to see them. We'll help you feel this hate because yeah, you signed up for that, but no one should have to sign up for this side of it. It's fucked up.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they have a ton of money and a ton of influence and a ton of avenues that they could use. I mean, this is getting like, listen, I don't want to side with Bethany Frankel ever. Um, ever. But she's talking about, like unionizing reality star workers. I completely and like Nick Viles talked about this too. There's a couple and he had someone on his show, but I don't think he totally agreed with this one. Because
Mhm.
wasn't it a guy that was on The Bachelor? Now I'm trying to remember what show he was on. There's somebody else who's like trying to unionize and honestly, I think take a more genuine approach to it than Bethany is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um and I think that should happen. There needs to be more protections in place, but it's like you keep having the same conversation. You keep telling people it's wrong, stop doing it, but you know what the internet's like and you know how people are. And here's the thing, Sydney, of all people, should understand how to handle it. You
Yep.
say that you have a media job and you don't know how to filter comments. You don't understand that, things just escalate to death threats in like 2 seconds because that's how the
Mhm.
internet works. It's fucked up, but you and I know this. It's like
Oh,
once
yeah.
you start managing social media accounts for clients, you're like, I mean, I still can't believe that, I worked for Travel Wisconsin. This is an award, so I can talk about that. It was like a crisis at the time. Now it's fully documented. Um, I worked for Travel Wisconsin. We put a mitten. I don't remember if I've ever talked about this on the podcast. We put a mitten on the state of Wisconsin. because it
Mhm.
was winter and we were doing different things to the state. So like we made it look like grass in the summer or whatever.
Oh,
We turned it
yeah.
into a leaf in the
Oh,
fall.
did Michigan get mad at
Yes.
you? Hell
Oh,
yeah.
death threats. Death threats. Okay? I was like,
Rally the troops, cyber
you are
bully travel
threatening
Wisconsin.
a tourism board." It was so fucked up. So we're like, we had to be in meetings and stuff. Like, what are we gonna do? They are threatening us. That it was like only a broken hand would fit. Like
Yeah.
Wisconsin looks like a broken hand that wouldn't
It's a
fit in a
fucked up hand,
mitten.
yeah.
We're gonna break your hand, like And I was
See,
like,
and
what
that's the
is
thing. You could
happening?
agree with the sentiment because I do agree with the sentiment. Anytime someone's like, Wisconsin's like a mitten, I'm like, no, that shit's taken. You don't get that. But I'm not going to cyberbully about it. And it's just a
Right.
cute little thing on the internet.
We
Who
did
fucking
it was
cares?
literally our profile photo. It's not like we're making merch. We're turning
Yeah.
it was literally, "It's winter and we're putting a mitten on the state because it's cold." And
People are
so that's
so
what you do in the
fucking
winter.
weird.
And all of Michigan came for us. It was scary. It was really scary. And then
Yeah.
Pure Michigan was like, "Hey, let's partner." And basically, so we won awards because we did this mitten campaign, and we at all the like tourism bureaus like in Wisconsin and Michigan, you could donate mittens, hats, and scarves, and we got a
Oh, that's
ton.
nice.
Yes, so we turned it into something very positive, but it was really scary. Like
Hmm.
I've had a few rounds of death threats on the internet, personally and through businesses. And it's like if that's your job, I mean, it's still like jarring, but you're used to it. You're kind of like, that's
Yeah.
part of it. But if you're like, this is your first foray into reality TV and influencing and all of that, and there are some people who will say that and stop there, and there are other people who will make it very scary and unsafe and like not cool. And
Yeah.
I don't understand, with all the resources that The Bachelor has, that they are not setting up these contestants like to handle the media outside of maybe some like I mean, I don't even think they do any media training really. Maybe
No.
more for like The Bachelor or Bachelorette, like whoever the lead is, but
Mhm.
I don't think they really do much of anything. And I just don't know, like, yeah, I don't know why they haven't done it by now. And it's like, you've created this fandom.
Mhm.
Like, the fandom is toxic partially, majorly because you've made it toxic, because you're promoting these very traditional ideals. Every once in a while, you throw, a progressive curveball in there, here and there. But the whole concept is very antiquated. And I think it's refreshing and nice that you bring in a lead who shows us a different view of masculinity that
Mhm.
isn't so traditional, that isn't, toxic and macho and whatever. A man that's not afraid to be sensitive and vulnerable and what have you. And there's still so much work that needs to be done, and they could be doing it, and they're not they're not doing shit except for like, we come out and we say racism bad, no death threats please, and then they're
Yeah.
like, and moving on to bloopers, and you're like, what the hell, like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
it's and the thing is too is like you got to understand that we've all watched the show. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of deeply insecure people that are on this
Yeah.
thing. And so, like when one of my first adult jobs out of college was community management, and that's just like, hey, do you want to get cyberbullied for 35,000 a
Yeah.
year? And I mean, I was fine with it because I just like I don't know. Sometimes stuff is scary. Like I got doxxed one time because I was doing like social media management for a grocery store, and some guy,
What?
I don't know, like bought some strawberries that were moldy, and he was pissed off about it, uh,
So he doxed you?
and so he found out who I was somehow, and then he like doxed me, and he's like, "I'm gonna come kick your fucking ass." I'm like, "Sir, I have nothing to do with the strawberries. I am but a
Oh my
young
god.
man." But so yeah, that shit's weird. Definitely don't do that.
Yeah.
But it is nice when you surround yourself with the right people, you can take something that's very public and vocal and bad and transform it into something positive. And I mean, obviously, your example is fantastic. Uh, even recently, there's a bar in Milwaukee called the Mothership,
Yeah.
and they just put out like a little message on Instagram. Like it was nothing. It was just on their Instagram story. And they're like, hey, just so you guys know, we're going to close down during the week of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee because we just don't want to like deal with people.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to like rent the place out for like a private party and you're not like a whatever, a fucking like Republican person trying to have like a fucking media meet and greet or whatever, we'll rent it out for your birthday or whatever the fuck. But we're not doing like
Yeah.
regular bar shit, which is totally understandable. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want those fucking chuds in my place of business, as much as I would enjoy taking their
You're
money.
saying "fuck" a
And more
lot.
importantly, like you got to think about who your everyday clientele is, and it's just like it ain't gonna mix.
Right.
But what had ended up happening was the story was picked up by the Milwaukee Record, and then from there it was picked up by the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and
Right.
then from there it was picked up by Rolling Stone magazine.
Yeah.
And Ricky, the owner of this little dive bar, was interviewed in Rolling Stone magazine. And same thing, they got like review bombed on Yelp with these
Yeah.
like ridiculous reviews and all these crazy threats. But Ricky, because he is who he is, and
Yeah.
he's a rascally dude, he was able to take all this negativity and just like really put it out there and show how like ridiculous and absurd these people are for like the
Yeah.
most innocuous shit. And since he did that, like the place has been fucking packed with people every night because yeah, like people want to
It's a
support
great
him.
little bar.
It is a
Yeah,
great little bar.
it's a great little bar, and you did undersell his starting post because, I believe they both opened with "Sup, idiots."
Yeah, that's how he always starts his post. That's the other thing too is like I think that like the Republican people who are mad about this, they don't understand how Ricky posts on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like one of the best things I have ever seen a human being do online is his bar got a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, which is like really expensive, super rare whiskey that, you know, there's only 1,000 bottles. And if you get one, you're super lucky. And same thing, he made a post. It's like, "What's up, idiots? We got some of this crap here." And then it's just a video of him like pouring it into a glass with a yellow Red Bull and slamming it, which is just like heresy to like whiskey nerds. And it was fucking hilarious. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is what the man does. Like, come on, come on. But hey, the point is, don't be a dick to a 24-year-old woman who doesn't have her shit figured out yet. That's not nice. Think about it. Would you say it to her face? Would you say it to it if she was standing right here? I don't think you would. So
No,
there.
you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Yeah, but yeah, I there's so much more that you can do when people just kind of act like, "Oh, my hands are tied," or like, "I am but a lowly brand," or there was a whole thing on TikTok again of like, "Oh, do you really want influencers to have takes on social issues?" It's like, "Yes. Yeah, I want you to be able to say genocide bad, human
Yeah.
rights good." Like I don't think that that's that difficult to say. So I mean, yes, they've done the bare minimum by being like cyberbullying bad, death threats bad, racism bad, but it's like and I do feel like they've done better in terms of diversity on the show.
Mhm.
They're improving. They've got a long way to go, but I think they need to do more to subvert the structure of the show. There's just there's just a lot more
I
work that they
I
need
think
to
they're
do.
afraid because
Yeah.
it's such an antiquated model. And even as the world changes around them, they kind of want to cling to that. And
Yeah.
probably now more than ever, they're worried that like if they change things up just a little bit, then there'll be all kinds of like think pieces in the National Review, like "Is the Bachelor woke?" And
But
then they'll
who
have
cares?
yeah, I know. It's like who
Who
fucking
cares? That's what I'm
cares?
saying. It's like I would just be like, "Yeah, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Whatever. Who fucking cares?" Um, but that's what it's like the things that they don't see. Like, it's like the Aaron and James bromance was so good. Like Demi's relationship with another woman was so good and interesting. And it's like now we've got this like non-toxic dude, who does not fit into the general bachelor mold. And we've got this outspoken woman. It's like the most like well-liked bachelor and one of the best seasons we've ever had. And it's like if you just leaned into this a little bit more and kept doing this thing, then maybe you would be just fine. Do you ever think about that? But they're scared. Anyway, we can keep moving because I feel like we've really been harping on this for a long time. Um, but yeah, everybody screams for Maria. Oh, I was really annoyed at the beginning because they were checking in woman by woman, and Jen's mic. I think they fixed it at some point, but when she first started talking, I was like, someone needs to fix her mic because it was like, and she was like, I was so excited to be with these women, and I was like really annoyed with it. Anyway, yes, great women, great Joey, one of the best seasons for sure. But the main drama, the biggest thing, was this whole Maria, Medina, Leia, Sydney stuff.
Oh, and
Yeah.
let me just say too, to kind of frame it up, if you want to understand, if you want to contextualize the depth and the strength of Maria's power, I want you to know that these women tell-alls, they are designed to basically set these women up like it's an episode of Jerry Springer or something in the 90s, and there's these different pain points, and they want them to argue. They want them to scream at each other. Just like when they go sit on the couch, that's the time for everybody to cry.
Yeah.
Here, Maria is so powerful that the women that were trying to dethrone her in the house are like stumbling over each other to apologize to her and just like ride in her wake. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's so weird. Okay, so like they kind of recount the whole drama. Again, was there any footage of anything that these women claimed? Zero.
None.
Zero footage. And I'm telling you, if there was footage, they would have shown it because that would stir the pot and that would be interesting and that would add another layer to things. The only exception would be if they're trying to like serve Maria up as the Bachelorette and they just like don't want to muddy the waters. But I don't believe there's any footage because they would have shown it already. They would have shown it before they were trying to make her the Bachelorette or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but I do not believe that there's any footage. And here's the thing, it's still gonna be like a she said scenario, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
we have to still decide who we want to believe. Um, but Leia's kind of like it's interesting. I think Leia wanted to come across like Maria is coming across,
Mhm.
you know? And I don't remember who said this exactly. Someone said it was a good Star, which, we see Star got this in. She goes, "It was a good performance until it didn't work anymore."
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
"Yeah," because it's like, and she's like, "Well, how did I do something that's like how did I do things that were different from how the other women acted in the house?" And Evelyn said, "Well, we never called ourselves girls girls,
Yep.
and that we
That's a
led with
red
our
flag.
heart."
Ladies,
Yeah.
if you meet a gal and she repeatedly tells you how much of a girl's girl she is, you better watch out. She's gonna knife you.
You
It's
should
gonna
just
happen.
be a girl's girl. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
every once in a while, I'm sure I say I'm a girl's girl, but, not really. I just
No.
am one.
Like, if I
It's like, "What?"
repeatedly was just like, "Sammy, you gotta understand, I'm not shitty. I'm not shitty." A lot of people probably say, "I'm not shitty, though. I'm not shitty."
Oh,
You would immediately be like, "Steve might be kinda shitty." I don't
I thought you were gonna use the line that my ex used and say male feminist. I'm a male feminist.
I'm a male feminist.
I'm like, "Oh, is that how it works?" You just say that and then it's true, like,
No, I'd be like,
Leah's
I'd be like Daffy Duck in a cartoon. If somebody said that to me, I would be like my skin would start crawling, and I would just, like, run through a wall and, like,
your
leave
bill
an
would turn
outline
around
of myself.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My duck bill would turn around. Yeah. It'd be horrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the impression I got, and it's like, yeah, the difference is none of us said we were girls, girls, and we were doing this from the heart and whatever. It's like
Mhm.
all the other women, I think, have her number. They're like, "You knew you weren't doing this for us. You didn't throw it in the fire for us." Because here's the thing, if you did it for us, you would have had it you would have stored it somewhere and been like, "I'm not gonna use it on me, but we'll figure out, like, we'll decide as a group,
Yeah.
if somebody else gets it or whatever, or if we use it or not." Like, that if you did it for the group, that's how you would do it. You would see someone struggling and you would be like, "Why don't you take this one-on-one? Because you're having a really hard time." You know, give it to Lauren because it was her birthday and she didn't even get the cake she wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Seriously.
Like, that would have been a
Well, no, she wouldn't give it to Lauren because Lauren's the one who actually told her to shut the
Yeah.
fuck up.
Well, here's the thing. Talk about a girl's girl. Dude, Lauren is a girl's girl from top to bottom, inside out.
Mhm.
I know a
Another one of
girl's
my
girl when I
favorites.
see one. She is 100% a girl's girl, and she
Yep.
doesn't need to say it. She is just about it. And all the things that I've heard about her from, like, the outside world are that she's like super sweet in real life and like really cool and super real.
Mhm.
So, again, someone Leia would like to be. And yeah, this was amazing. So I was like, okay, Maria told me to shut the fuck up. And Maria's like, I did not say that. Now, I do think Maria didn't make herself look the best when she was like interrupting Jess, but I am someone like that. I
Mhm.
really identify with Maria. I get super heated. If someone is like lying about what I said, I turn into that. I'm like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, I didn't. You're not doing this to me. I am. Nope. Nope, that didn't happen. That didn't
Yep.
happen. And I'm just trying to desperately cut it off in the past. So, like, I get that. But I just love when it's like, yeah, she told Leia to shut the fuck up. And they're like, no, I didn't. And they're like, well, who did? And Lauren's just like, I did. I did. Cause
It
she
was
was being
me.
really annoying. And she was telling me to like practice patience and she was being really condescending. And I just told her to shut the fuck up.
Amazing.
Like, good for you, Lauren. Like,
Which is
I can't
also
wait to
something
see
I
you
would
on
do.
Paradise. Yeah.
If someone came up to me and they're like, "Steve, you really need to practice patience."
Oh,
It's like,
shut the fuck
"Yeah, I'm
up. Yeah.
patiently waiting to strangle you." Like, I would not be able to fucking handle it.
That's like, yeah, it's like, "Oh, is someone crabby?"
Yeah.
It's like, "Shut up." Like,
Someone
why
put
would you
on their
say that?
grumpy pants
Yeah.
today.
I 100% see Leia as okay, this is something Leia might do. Like when you wake up and you're at someone else's house and maybe you slept a little later than other people and then
Mhm.
like Leia would be the type to be like, "Oh, look who's up. Look who finally decided to join us. Oh, hi sleepyhead. Good morning.
Yeah.
Oh, can you even see me with all that sleep in your eyes?" And you'd be like, "What the
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm
like,
just trying to I'm just trying to wake up and drink some coffee, okay, and
yeah,
just be
let
a
me fucking
human.
live over
Can
here.
you
Yeah.
not? Can you she's like that. She's like, "Oh, you know, oh, look who finally decided to show up." Everyone who's ever said that to me is no longer in my life. So, just saying.
I gotta remember to say that to you just to see how you react.
And then I'm like, "The podcast ends today." Um, yeah, Leia, like and she also, like, says that it's like she's rehearsed some of this stuff, and that's when someone said, like, it's a performance until it didn't work anymore. Did you notice she just, like, pulled out a bunch of stuff, like, standing on business, point blank period, gaslit, and I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
"Are you even being a human right now? Like, what is
No,
happening?"
she's just, like, reading off her list of catchphrases, and I was just like,
Yeah.
"God, just
Yeah,
don't be
she's just like,
fucking weird
"I'm
about
standing
it,
on business,
man."
point blank, period." And I'm like, first of all, the way that you get a catchphrase to take off is it has to be unique.
Yeah.
Just a piece of advice for you. Um, but yeah, anyway. So and then yeah,
Which
like
is why don't do needle drugs is like it's sweeping the nation. People just can't stop saying it.
yeah, we do have a fan who said it back to you, which is amazing.
High point of
Um
my life.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's, like, wild. So but yeah, so Medina's like, "Listen, I can be friends with anyone I want to, including the Dalai Lama, including the fucking Dalai Lama," or whatever. And she's like, "But, like, yeah, like, I'm so frustrated by this interaction with you because you're trying to tell me how to act in a situation." Like, Medina got such a bad edit for, like, 2 episodes, and then she completely turned a 180 and looked
Yeah.
so good at the Women Tell All. Like, she was just like, fuck this, you know?
Mhm.
This is just like and then Maria's like, "Okay, I'm coming back from the 2-on-1. The room's incredibly silent. No one's saying anything to me. And the only person who said anything nice to me and said, 'You look pretty,' was Medina. Girl's girl. That's
Girls,
girl's girl
girl.
behavior. That's what I'm saying. You can see it. It's very obvious who the girls are. And I think Leia wanted to come off as like, I'm sweet, but I got a little bit of a bite to me. And she just came off mean girl. It just like
Yeah.
she like overcorrected and she did apologize. And, it's not up to me to say that apology's good or whatever. But she did say, I'm sorry you felt that way. And I was like,
I
okay.
love that one.
Sorry you feel that way. Um And then yeah, so oh yeah, and then Leia brought out, like, the gaslit thing. It was, like, after Lauren's like, "I told you to shut the fuck up," and whatever, and then Leia's like, "Well, I don't wanna be gaslit," and then Maria's like, "What are you doing? Are you taking notes from Sydney? Like, what is happening?" Like, this is Sydney's script. And then they, like, go to break, and then, it's like Jess is crying, Leia's crying, and they're like, "I know what happened," and I'm like, "I this also feels strategic." This feels like the Real Housewives episodes where they call each other. This was like Beverly Hills was like notorious for that, where they
Mhm.
would call each other and be like, "This is what we're going to say at the reunion, and this is
Yep.
how we're going to act, and these are the things we're going to do."
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
it.
it felt like to me. Just saying, just saying. And despite the fact that all these women are trying to throw Maria under the bus, and I don't think it's an optics thing. She was like, "I just want us to get along. I thought we were good. I want to be friends. I want to move on." Like, and I think a little bit after this, I love Edwina, and she was just like, "Listen, you didn't like Maria from the start. That's why you were acting that way. Had nothing to do with the age comment, and as soon as she said something that could bother you, you decided
Mhm.
to take that and run with it." And, and she said she handled it so much better than I would have. Like, she had all these women coming at her, and she still tried to, like, keep it together.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I 100% agree. I think, like, oh, and then who was it who had, oh gosh, now I'm trying to remember. Oh, and there at some point during all of this, they panned to a lady in the audience who you could tell was saying, "Period, period." They made me laugh. Um, oh, there was something, oh gosh, now I'm trying to remember. Maybe I'll get to it. I thought I had it in the, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So then, yeah, Maria brought up to Jess, like, "Hey, you're kind of a hypocrite. Remember, like, in night one, you tried to take time and nobody faulted. I mean, well, somebody faulted, but she didn't make it even to the women tell all." Um, and, it's like, yeah, she's like, "Remember that?" And then, Jess is like, "You said shut up." She said, "I said zip it." And if Kathy can say zip it, then Maria can say zip it. That's my final word.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, Jess is like, "Well, I just felt animosity from you, and, but then I think that's part of why I felt weird about you getting time and whatever." And Medina said, "Oh, delivery may have had something to do with it, because I don't think Maria's delivery is great. You gotta know how to, like, handle tough people like that to,
Oh, yeah.
and I
She
get it.
she has no kids gloves. That's
No, and I totally get it. I get why some of the women don't like her for that reason. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
faulting any of them for that, but to say things that she didn't say is unnecessary, you know? Um,
Mhm.
and so Medina's like, "Oh, maybe it's delivery." And Lexi goes, um, she said something like, "Oh, is it delivery, or is it someone having a different opinion from your friend group?" And I was like,
That was
"Yeah,
real good. I was like,
that."
"Oh."
See, the older women on the show, really showed their maturity, that's for sure. They
Mhm.
were just like,
Mhm.
"This is nonsense. We are stopping this now. There's no point in doing any of this stuff." Um, yeah, so, like, I don't know. Any other thoughts before we move on from that whole big drama? Because it was a whole big thing.
It was a big thing. I loved it though. Just again, like just Maria's dominance. I've never seen anything like it before. Like she
Yeah.
is just. I don't know what they're gonna do with her. I mean, obviously you make her the Bachelorette, but
Yeah, you
eh,
have to,
you
right?
have to. You have to. Imagine if they don't. Like people are
Unless
gonna
for some
riot.
reason she's not interested, but
Oh, that would be amazing.
yeah, if she turned them down, which honestly would be such a power move, and I wouldn't put it past her. Like, if they don't
Mhm.
make her, if she's not the Bachelorette, I would guess that the only way she's not the Bachelorette is by her own choosing. But I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Sorry, I had to sneeze. So I like that I muted and then I still told you that I sneezed. So
By the way,
Lexi,
that's what I did.
by the way, I muted to sneeze. So Lexi is first, up, and I just cried the entire time. I just cried the whole time when she was up. I was just like, "You're so good and inspirational, and I'm so glad you're on the show." And I don't have endometriosis, but I do have PCOS and other things. And I was like, "Yes, fellow Spoonie, PCOS girly. I love that she brought endometriosis to the show. What a queen!" She talked about invisible illnesses. Hell yeah, she's amazing. No notes. Love her. She made Susan cry in the audience. She's the best. Oh my
Mhm.
god. That was so good. I hope for everything good for her. She would also be a great Bachelorette contender, but
Yeah.
I what if they did it? This is like my weird tinfoil hat thinking during the show. I was like, what if they did a new show for her? And it's like,
Ooh.
find me, someone who's ready for kids. Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
fast
yeah.
tracking this extra
Fast
hard.
track to Baby Town.
Yeah, I was like, would she do it? I don't know if she would do it, but anyway,
Maybe.
I think it's kind of interesting. Interesting thought. Who knows? You never know. And then Jen is next. They, I mean, okay, I'm really happy about what happened for Jen after the show.
Mhm.
Like she's like a sweet, bubbly person. She had a nice presence on the show. She's cute. I would be really shocked if she wasn't on Paradise. Um she and the good thing that happened with all of this is she ended up like kind of having more inroads with her mom. It brought her closer. And she did, like, the audition like Lexi did and, like, a few other women did, like, just in case, keep it
Mhm.
open, we don't know who the Bachelorette is. Um, you know, uh, New sense of hope, she's ready to find her person, all that good
Mhm.
stuff. I don't know, I don't have a ton of notes for Jen. I mean, I like her, she's nice, I
Yeah.
don't have, like, a strong opinion about her in one way or
No,
another.
she seems fine, and I think, almost all the women on this season, like, I think now that the season's over, a lot of the animosity and a lot of the tension in the house, they're all able to kinda step back from that and be like, "Oh, we're not shitheads." Like like, I think that's a big part of it too, like, a lot of their behavior and even things were like, "Just fucking stop it." There's probably a lot of external and internal pressure to perform a certain way, and there's kind of like after that confrontation with Maria in the beginning, like, once that was done, it's like everybody took a nice sigh breath, everything's
Yeah.
good, and it was nice. It's just nice. Everybody's nice now.
Yeah, everybody's nice now. Let's all be friends.
Let's
Like,
all be
just be
friends,
cool. There's no point
please.
not to. And then we get to talk to Maria, and yeah, everyone's like freaking out again. Like, that's our girl. We love her. She's amazing. Um, and I love this. They're like, okay, so like, what's going on? How'd your dad take it? And she's like, well,
Mhm.
Joey has a hit out on him, so he's just like, watch out. She's like, just kidding. Um, but yeah, this is when she's really like, she wants to be good with everyone. And even Leia was like, I didn't get a chance to get to know you for you. And she's like, yeah, you didn't. You didn't.
Mhm, mhm.
And she's like, let's all just make up and hug. And she's the most diplomatic bachelorette ever. And let's make her the bachelorette. Um, so that's all. I mean, I didn't have a lot of notes for Maria except for everything we've already said. Like, I think
Mhm.
she tied everything up in a nice little bow. I'm happy with how it's all coming together. I really do think that the Bachelor producers wanted to make her the villain. I really do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they couldn't do it. And it's so satisfying to me. It feels really good.
Yep.
So that's the best feeling ever. And then okay. So then we get to this we need to talk thing, and I was so mad. I basically barely have a note. It sucks so bad. It's so boring and I hate it. It's like we need to talk cuz I just miss you and I just wanted you to know I miss you and I would love to meet your family. I'm like, this is what you needed to talk to him about?
It's yeah, that's it.
What?
That's it.
It was so much worse than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was like the biggest, like, wet fart thing ever, which
Yeah.
is funny too, because if I had to guess, production gassed her up about it, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it," and then she did it, and then she was just like, "Oh my god, I just realized that this is, like, the most ridiculous, pithy, non-issue shit possible," and here we are. So, yeah.
It's just awful. Anyway, so that ended in not a lot of surprise. I said Daisy's dress is so pretty. I think Rachel will be done this week, and then Daisy gets the first rose, and Kelsey gets the second rose. Not surprising.
Mhm.
Rachel gets sent home. Um, but then we have like a session with her on the couch. This was around the time or on this. stage. And this was around the time that I was like, we didn't get any Kelsey T anything. And I was like
Mhm.
very surprised by that. Um, and Rachel's like a total mess. And she's just like, I really loved him. Um, but it was a very sweet, it was such a sweet take. And here's what I love. So Joey comes out, she just watched her like heart get ripped out for a second time. And Joey comes out and she's goes back into like this great rapport with him, so bubbly, so many jokes. Like she's so personable. She's like,
Mhm.
and they have such a nice dynamic. It just really is so cute. Um, and she's like, I had a great experience. It's all love here. I have so much respect for you. It's like these are there's so many times where we've watched a show where the bachelor, like, breaks up with someone and it's near the final 4, and it's, like, not fun to watch, it's, like, uncomfortable, and everybody who it's like, "You're the best, Joey." I just want you to be happy. You're a class act. You're a great dude, and he didn't say, like, falling in love or love with her or anything, and he said, at the end, like, "I respect you so much, and I do have love for you, but I'm not, like, falling in love with you or in love with you, and I can't get I haven't been able to get there, and it's not fair to keep you around," And
Mhm.
that's pretty much the best way you can play it.
Yep. Yep.
So, he did a
Agreed.
really good job. Joey is, like, a master class in Bachelor, he, like, is so good at it. It's, like,
Totally.
wild. I don't have, like, a single complaint, where I'm like, "Yeah, he coulda done that better." I'm like, "No, he's,
Nope.
like,
Handle
doing
it
it
like a
perfect."
pro.
So, I don't know, it's a good show. Um, and then, yeah, so let's see. I don't have a whole lot. Oh, and then yeah, this is when they brought up all the, yeah, so since getting home things have been tough and she got like all these like hateful messages. And also like that's the other thing that was driving me nuts because like the whole time Sydney talked about like all the crap that she was getting, I was thinking, I'm like, how bad do you think it is for like the black and brown women on the show and like, the POC women on the show? Like
Mhm.
they're just, you don't think they get it a million times worse even if they don't get a villain edit?
Yep.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And I was just like, "Why are you centering yourself, Sydney? This is so annoying." Um, but yeah, I mean, again, I've already said my piece on this, but I really would love to see them do more. And I mean, that was something that like Rachel Lindsay took them to task for. And that's what I'm like,
Mhm.
this is not new by any means. Like, has that been 10 years by now? Was that 2014? Was that when her season was?
Oh, geez. I don't think it's been that long, has it? We're not that old.
Uh
Come on.
Okay, no, 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 alright. 2017, okay. I might have been thinking about Nick Viall's seasons gets a little bit closer
Yeah.
to that. Not so close, yeah, but okay, I'm dating myself too. Anyway, so okay, 2017. Okay, why did I think 2014? I don't know. That's totally fine with me. That makes me feel not so old. But yeah, but I mean, we've had this conversation before. Rachel Lindsay was the one who really brought it to the forefront. And but it's like, but still, that's 7 years to like get your shit together.
Mhm.
Hello, like what are you doing? So it's just, like, very annoying to me. Um, yeah, I wrote in my notes, so are they gonna change any of that? Because they sure haven't in the past. We had the same segment a few years ago. I wrote, "Donate money, come out swinging, hire a team to help these women. What can you do to materially help?"
Mhm.
This was a weird part of the women tell all. He didn't sit down with that many women. But maybe it's also because, like, there is no animosity, so there's not a lot to, like, unpack and talk about.
Mhm.
So he talked to them from their chairs with like Sydney, Maria, Jen, and Kelsey T. And I was like, okay, I've been waiting to hear from Kelsey T. I haven't heard a word from her. What's going on? Um, Interesting. She said her dad is so much more present in her life. Again, because she talked about it on the show, it sounds like she connected with some other people who had like family members who were still Jehovah's Witnesses and they had left. Like that's like the good stuff that comes out of the show. Like the
Mhm.
endometriosis stuff, the like being able to relate, talking about like your parents in a cult. Like, I mean, like that's important. And so that made me really happy. Then we start to get some bloopers and like these impressions that the women do of each other. Um, Joey said Maria and Rachel made him laugh the most. I think that was really obvious.
Mhm.
Here's okay, actually I have one criticism of Joey. One thing that I hate and I want him to stop doing forever. Here we go. Here's my ick. Uh He's gotta stop saying macaroons. Oh my god.
I thought your big Joey ick was he doesn't know how to say Minneapolis.
Oh, no, that was funny. That was actually kinda funny. Minneapolis, Minneapolis. I'm so excited to go to Minneapolis. I thought that was kinda funny. But no, he kept saying macaroons on that date with Maria. They're
Oh,
macarons.
yeah.
Macarons. Macaroons?
Macaroons!
Those are a completely different thing. That's the thing. It's not just a pronunciation. It's a completely different food product.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
don't French it up too much because then you'll just be saying the name of their prime minister or president or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's a
Emmanuel Macaroon.
it's a dangerous line to walk, but he
Yeah,
just didn't
it's
even.
tough.
And it's funny, so, like, we always watch TV with the captions on, of course. And I'm sorry, I just had, like, a weird cough laugh. Um, and, I love that whoever did the captions, they put macaroons in quotes. They were like, "Macaroons," because it was like, "That's not what they are." That made me really happy, so whoever did that was so good. Um, Laura okay, 2 blooper moments I liked. One was Maria with the microphone in her butt.
That was amazing.
That was really funny.
And Joey just didn't know what to do. She's like, "It's in my butt." He's like, "Can I help? I don't know."
Yeah, and she's like, "No, I gotta get it out, I don't know." And then Lauren is like yeah, Lauren is a girl's girl and unintentionally funny, I think.
Mhm.
She's like a very naturally funny person. And I just love when she's like, "This Polaroid thing isn't working," and they're like, "It's this button." She's like, "No, it's not," and then she hit it and just, like, took a picture of her face real close. She's so funny. I need more Lauren on my TV now,
Yeah.
please. Um, and then oh, yeah, I didn't even realize that Caitlyn was on stage because she also didn't talk, until
Mm.
the bloopers. Because there was something that she got a blooper for, and then they panned to her in at the chairs. There I was like, "Why is Star there?" Like, there were certain people I was like, "I, like, literally don't remember Star." Like, I have nothing against her, but I do not remember her,
Yeah.
genuinely. Yeah, I was like, "Okay, whatever." Um, so, that being said, what are your predictions for the finale? We
Well,
are
my
almost
big
there.
prediction, my big swerve last week was like, "I'm gonna bet on the one gal that I've been betting against this whole time," and then, of course, she didn't make it, so,
Yeah.
jeez, I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. Let me hear your thinking, and then I'm just gonna hijack your thoughts. How about that? What do you got?
Um
I'm still working through it.
when he says like cuz he said something like I bet that's never happened.
Mhm.
Um I just wonder if the here's just an idea. I wonder if the person that he doesn't end up choosing feels it and and gets out in front of it and goes,
Mhm.
"I know you're not going to choose me. I
Yeah,
just know."
that could be it. That could be
And
it.
so before we get into this whole thing, I'm going to leave.
That would be nice.
And
I
I
mean,
know.
that'd be a good move. I like that. Take
Yeah.
control.
Here's just an idea, and maybe it's Daisy.
Yeah, maybe it is. I like that actually. I could see Daisy being like, "You know what? I don't think it's gonna be me. Fuck it," and then she leaves. And then that leaves Kelsey, which he's again, like I was talking about this last week, but they have this really good chemistry together, like this really like physical thing. It's palpable. You could feel it through the television. And also Kelsey doing that dumb bullshit with the note, and somehow that did not derail her chances. I'm going all in.
Yeah.
I'm pushing all the chips to the center of the table. It's Kelsey time. You like how I went from like I actually don't know to I now have
Yeah.
a firm opinion that I'm
Kinda fun.
sticking by.
Yeah. I mean, my theory, this is just a wild theory, is like, yeah, the reason we have the footage with the one rose left is because what happened with the first person and not the second person. But it didn't go the way that he expected. And it's
Mhm.
because whoever came out first and for some reason knew that it wasn't gonna be them, was like, "I'm gonna stop you right there, and we're not doing this,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave." That's
Mhm.
just a that's a theory, that's an idea, or maybe they never showed up in the first place, and
Mm.
Jesse had to come to them and say come to come to Joey and say, they had a feeling it wasn't them, and so they're not coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those are things that I feel like have never happened before.
Mhm.
So, that's my guess for, like, him being like, "Oh, this never happened before." Because I don't think it's gonna be anything dramatic, like, he doesn't get chose I mean, he's, like, the best dude. You're trying to tell me that he doesn't leave with somebody?
Yeah.
Come on,
Mhm.
you know? I
Yeah,
wasn't
he
born
has to.
yesterday. Yeah, I just can't see an alternative to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just, that's what I'm thinking off the dome, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But we will tune in next week for the thrilling conclusion of The Bachelor.
Da
For that
da
fun.
da!
Okay. Have fun, everybody, with, I don't know, the time change that we've had recently. I feel like I'm still feeling I'm just, like, struggling. I am struggling hard.
Ugh.
If you just came back from spring break, take it easy, friends, and Easter's coming, and spring has sprung. We have passed the spring equinox now, so, get to cleaning.
Don't do needle drugs.
I don't
Clean
know.
your room.
It's called spring cleaning. I don't know.
Our listeners love it when we tell them to clean up.
And
You
then buy
slobs.
something nice for yourself. Retail therapy.